Hey everyone!
Oh shit, what's up, guys?
How's it going?
Chris, what's up, man?
Yeah, David's in here, H&H Pythons. How's everyone doing tonight?
Dude, I'm tired. I'm dead. I'm not even
I know, you're sick and tired. Poor Brandon.
I'm so sick of being tired and tired of being sick, man. I'm telling you, it's fucking bullshit. But the show must go on.
Yes.
No excuses.
You're better than me.
If Shane last week did the show in the back of like a truck or some shit, or in the cab of a truck on his phone,
in his sleeping quarters of his semi-truck. Yeah, he was on the road. So
that shit was badass.
Yeah, well, we have a real badass guest tonight as well.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, bring her in. Her name's Precious. She's very precious, right?
Very precious.
Very precious.
Hey.
Hey, Precious.
Hey. How's it going?
Good. It's been a long day, but I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome. We are very glad to have you.
Yeah, dude, it is. Why do we do this shit on Wednesday? Like, it's hump day. Motherfuckers got jobs.
Gives people something to look forward to. It was to be honest, it was like the only night not taken, right? Like there's a podcast on Monday, like Trav Talk on Tuesday, yep. So
yeah, we're just one of our own space, guys.
Yes,
sure. Make it for the little guy, for God's sakes. But it's not about us today. It's about Precious. So, Precious, quick intro, like who you are, where you're at, what do you work with, what do you do? Just quick intro. Let people know who you are.
Yeah, so Precious Robbins, and I operate Precious Pythons. I'm located out of Indianapolis, and I work primarily with or only with ball pythons. I'm hoping to expand eventually, but right now it's just balls. So I have a collection, very small, intimate collection of about 42 ball pythons, and I'm pretty new in the hobby.
You are pretty new.
How long have you been?
Yeah.
When did you get your first ball python?
And when did you have your first clutch?
First clutch was this year. So I would say literally.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I thought you at least put out clutches in like 2019.
No, this year was our first clutch.
We just had our first one, and it was a killer clutch too.
Yeah,
we'll get into that in a little bit here. So when did you get your first ball python? Like when did this all start for you?
This started literally, first ball python was around January, February of 2019. So that's when I bought my first ball python. And it was bought as a pet for my, at the time, hey Jerome, at the time it was bought for my, I think he was 6 or 7 at the time, year-old son. And, I had like a tank set up, was, trying to figure out how to exactly care for, the animal. And I think within maybe like the first, I want to say month of having that one ball python, I had maybe like 5 or 6. So it kind of progressed pretty quickly.
Oh.
Awesome. So you said you got the ball python originally for your son, or was it for both of you? Okay, so were you on board with snakes, or were you kind of like, I'm getting this because my son wants it, and then ended up
right?
Before the ball python, we had the bearded dragon and the leopard gecko, and most people know, like, my son is allergic to, well, we thought at the time he was allergic to dogs and cats, but he's just allergic to like pretty much everything outside. So we didn't really know that until we did like an allergy test. But so I went ahead and he asked for a bearded dragon. I did some research, got the bearded dragon without any hesitation whatsoever. Which is like, he needs to have a pet. He needs to be able to experience that and like move forward with that after I did. It was a few months of research before I got the bearded dragon. And then maybe like a year into like owning the bearded dragon and a leopard gecko, he asked for a snake, but he didn't specify and say like he wanted a ball python. He just wanted
a snake.
Right. And immediately I was just like, no. Snakes, like I'm not doing that. And I can't say, because I'm not really afraid of any animal. I just felt like for whatever reason, they would be like extremely complicated to care for because it was like this exotic animal. I don't know. And it's so ironic because it's like, but for me, I would say, because I think like when it comes to keeping animals, it's all about personality. It's hard to say what's a beginner animal. It's all about that person, what they're capable of doing and how meticulous you can be, because of course, if you're keeping a ball python in certain conditions, you have to make sure that their husbandry is accurate and correct. And if you're keeping in a tank, you have to be very meticulous in order to care for that animal.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a beginner snake for some people, and it can be the most horrible pet for someone else, But I did research on that, and I decided that it was like pretty painless. I mean, we had the bearded dragon, which eats every single day, and it's just like so much more care goes into a bearded dragon than there is like a ball python. So
it's that lizard shit.
Yeah,
that's lizard shit right there.
Yeah.
So, the more research I did, I was just like, this seems, pretty easy and, simple. So I found a girl local that lives in Indianapolis. And it's so crazy because it happened very like fluidly and naturally, because I was just kind of contemplating getting the snake. I hadn't made like any hard decision. And then I come across this girl who lives in Indianapolis who owned ball pythons. And I'm like, wow, isn't that ironic? We're thinking about getting a snake, and here's this snake lady, so I like kind of messaged her on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, what do you know about like, snakes, and what kind of snakes do you have? And, I was just asking all these questions, and she was like, yeah, they're great. You want to come and see some? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
That's me. Hey, yeah, you want to check out?
Yeah, you want to check it out?
My family was like, so you're going to a stranger's house to see snakes, but I was like all for it. So I went over there. I told her I wanted to hold her like biggest ball python, which was pretty big. And I think at the time she was actually gravid, but I like fell in love. Like I just was smitten with the ball python. So she let me hold maybe like 5 or 6 of them, and it was like different morphs, different colors. Like I was just like enthralled with like the different genetics. So I did some more research, and I think I did more research with looking up like ball pythons than I did like the bearded dragons, and I decided to go ahead and jump right into it. And it was funny because like my son, of course, when I got the first snake, he was ecstatic. Like he's like, oh, couldn't believe that I was actually doing this. And then when I started getting more, he's like, looking at me like, okay, I asked for one. What are you doing? So it kind of just took on a life of its own, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. That's nuts. Over some like rando you met on Facebook.
Yes, it's literally.
That's literally like that.
Like this is how it all started. Was someone invited me to their basement to go check out my snakes? Yeah.
How'd you get into snakes? Well, my son wanted one, and I told him no. And then I met this rando on Facebook. She invited me in her house, and I played with her balls and was hooked after that. That was it. That was it.
That's awesome.
No, that's badass. That's really cool because, like, you always hear people say, well, when I was a kid, I used to just play outside and pick up frogs and play in the house and piss off my parents. So you're, like, the first person I've ever heard say, like, they actually didn't get into reptiles or, like, ball python stuff till, like, adulthood.
Yes, definitely. I would say for sure. I've always had a love of animals, but like I said, when he first asked me for a snake, I'm just like, why a snake? Like of all the things, like, he was like, why? I just didn't really understand. And then, just looking at, I think I went to the pet store to get like all the things I needed for like the tank and stuff, and I talked to one of the employees who had a couple ball pythons. And I'm like, where do you like buy your snakes from? And she's like, yeah, there's a site called Morph Market. And then it was just, that
was it.
I was like, it was like this, just, I can't even explain like my thought process when I came across.
It's like a whole new, like,
news, like,
yeah, something you would never think would, be
what exists.
all these amazing, like all these amazing animals in one place. I think that happens for everyone in the industry. Like I remember hearing about Morph Market for the first time. I think it was at my first Tinley, and like going to Morph Market and then being like, there's so much information to take in.
Yes.
And so many different morphs and like the breakdown. I mean, just even going to like the morph page, right? And looking at like all the different categories that you can organize by. It's like, holy, yeah.
Because I think at the time when because they have like the main, like you go to like the main site and they have like the banana, spider, champagne, pied, clown. Like
the pictures. Yeah.
So I thought that was all the morphs that there were, like what was on that main site. And then it's like, no. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. No.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not even remotely close.
Yeah, that's funny as hell. No, that's awesome. Yeah, Morph Market changed the game. It truly changed the game.
For sure.
I want to know, of the snakes then, does your son have a snake that's like his snake? You know what I mean? Like that's his snake.
He does and he doesn't. The ironic thing about it is that when I first started doing this, the reason why I decided to like go the whole logo breeder side was because he had taken like quite an interest in them when I first got them. But of course he was like younger and he didn't know much about animals and he was fascinated. I'm like, this could be something that we could do together. And now that he's older, and so he has a snake that's his, but I mean, he is just like so uninterested in the entire thing now. It's so hilarious, like how he's really, really big into gaming. So he's obsessed with his like Xbox and video games. And he just wants nothing to do. Like every now and then while he's playing the game, he's like, "Mom, can I hold a snake?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I bring out a snake, let him hold it. But apart from holding one, he has no interest. But it was interesting to see him get reinterested once I had, cut the clutches and had the baby.
Yes.
You kind of saw that spark light back up. So
it's a lot of waiting in the beginning, especially, and that's hard. And how old is your son?
He's 9 now.
Okay, so he's also in that
that
age group too, where like I bet you'll see him like get more reinterested again, like 12, 13, like age.
Probably.
Yeah, so
he was like so obsessed with like, when are we gonna have babies? Oh, they're gonna mate. Like so she's gonna lay.
Yeah.
So he's just like, okay, this is not happening. Like it was so funny because when I first when we had our first clutch and the female laid, I had her in the incubator or the egg in the incubator and the egg box, and he got home and he heard the incubator going, and my incubator makes like a little pulsing noise, and he's like, "Why is the incubator on?" And I'm like, There's a clutch in there. And he's like, "Whose clutch?" I was like, "That's our eggs." He's like, "That's our eggs." I'm like, he's like, that's not ours. That's Orion's eggs. I'm like, "No, that's our eggs." And he wouldn't believe me for the life of me. He could not believe me that we actually finally got some eggs, because he had I feel like he had been waiting for them for forever. So it was really
that's awesome.
In him.
I'm gonna tell you, man, when the ball's rolling, it's like the spark doesn't die. Like when you're like, collection has been in one spot for a long time and it's like really established, and you like have bred the female in the same like rack for years, and when her cycle's coming, like you're cranking them out all year round. And I'm finally there, like right now. I'm like,
it gets busier, right?
Yeah,
busy,
but the spark's always there,
but like stuff is always coming, because I think we get our first clutch in like March and we get our last ones in November.
Yeah, me too.
So we go like 3 months without seeing a whole lot, but in those 3 months, like all of your holdbacks are either going from hatchling to subadult, which is a really cool interim to see them like come into their colors and their patterns and, kind of come into all that stuff. But then you're also seeing like the girls that you didn't know if they were going to be big enough or not this year, like hitting that 1,500 gram mark, or those males start producing, like sperm and stuff. Yeah, where you're like, So there's always something to kind of look forward to, even during those off months and things like that. So
because I feel like it's so funny that like obviously I had like the first clutch was laid in April, right? And then based off of some of the girls, they're still building, they're bull wrapping, they're showing all the right signs. I have a few girls that are going off of food now. So I'm like anticipating in the next like 6 weeks, I might see some ovulations from a few girls. And it's crazy because with that, based off of that timeline, I'll be getting clutches in like late fall, so it's just like I didn't realize that this was going to be like a all year round type of thing, but it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm finally there, and it took me a long. I think Liz is gonna drop out. So
Okay.
Last week her internet just like randomly died.
Really?
She'll come back.
Okay.
Come back. But yeah, so no, I feel you because I'm like, so when I think my first clutch, I got it in January, and so from March on, I've been like just hatching and selling and shipping and moving and so finally, because now that I'm out of the Army, I can move. I'm going to move to North Carolina. So I'm done pairing for a little bit. So my final 2 girls just ovulated.
Really?
Yeah. So I should have some.
Nice.
Hopefully, I should have some Cypress Desert Ghosts.
That's gonna be
and Desert Ghost Het Clowns because it was a pastel lesser DG girl and a clown het DG boy.
Nice. That's gonna be a visual Cypress Desert Ghost.
It's a visual pastel lesser Desert Ghost female. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. I love Cypress and Desert Ghost together.
Oh my god, I know. So what do you got? Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your projects. So what do you got going on, anyways?
So I would say my most anticipated. So I have a lot of like I feel like I'm primarily focusing a lot on Desert Ghost. Those are like my most exciting clutches that I'll hopefully be having this year, but nothing like too crazy. I feel like a lot of last year was spent preparing and I guess gearing up my collection for the next 2 years versus this starter year.
That's the way to do. That's smart.
Yeah. So I would say like my most anticipated clutch. I have my female single gene Desert Ghost. She's a visual, and she was paired to 2 different males. One male was my super chocolate hypo het Desert Ghost, and then I recently paired her to a pastel super enchy visual Desert Ghost.
Okay, so you already know it's going to either be, if you get enchy or chocolate.
Exactly. So yeah. I don't like Who's Your Daddy clutches at all. Like I never wanted to do that. But as long as you have like a nice super that you can tell the difference between them, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep a few backup males. So one backup male I have is it's a OD sulfur cream. So it's sulfur, vanilla, and orange dream. Nice. So the sulfur vanilla is allelic.
Yeah.
Right. So that will never throw normal. That's always going to throw sulfur, which is just, it's a different gene than fire, but it does the same shit. And then vanilla. Or sometimes I'll just have a visual DG and use him as my backup male. Because no matter what, I'm getting hets. But it's better to do it the way you did it because your supers are codom.
Right.
Right? That's the way. Hold on. Liz gave us a message. Hey, guys. Trying to get my internet to work. Been storming here for 2 weeks. It's all right, Liz. We'll just wait for you to come back.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think, at the beginning of the season, I had picked up a Cypress spot nose female that was proven. Yes. So, and I was really
nice.
Yes, I was really excited about her. So I got her back on food, got her to a point where she was ready to breed. And I put her in with what I had bought was a calico pastel clown. And the male, I've had him for like a while now, and he's just not ready. I mean, he's like 900,000 grams. Won't pair with anything. Like, I mean, such a disappointment. Like, I was really, really, but
he won't lock up at all.
He will not lock up. I've tried every trick in the game, and he will not. I mean, I've paired him with different females. I've paired him with females that were like, I have one female where if you put a male in there, she will like, she's the aggressive one. Like, her tail is wagging, and she's like,
yeah, wow, that's the good shit.
Yeah, she'll get a male lock in a minute. Is she back?
Yep.
Oh, come on.
Maybe let it catch up. It'll catch up.
So he still would not lock, you know, even with her. So I've kind of waiting on him. So in the interim, I paired her, the Cypress spot nose, with my super chocolate hypo het desert ghost because because if I'm correct, chocolate and spot nose are allelic. So I was really anticipating that, but she didn't go this year. So we'll see, you know, if she goes next year. I know that she went off of food for a little bit, and now she's killing food. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe I'll get some momentum with her in.
Yeah, dude, that's she started just smashing it again. Like,
yeah, I mean, she went off food, and so I stopped pairing her just to be on the safe side. And then maybe after 2.5 months, 3 months of being off of food, she just started killing food again. But yeah, so I wanted to be sure, because when I picked her up from the breeder, I always make sure like that if I have a breeder, she was my first breeder female, and I wanted to get her at least 20 meals after she had laid, and then like wait around like 6-7 months. But she just did not go, so it was slightly disappointing. But I'm really hopeful that I can eventually make some Cypress spot nose calico clowns.
Nice. I'm hopping in kind of in the middle here. So you waited 6 or 7 months to start pairing her again?
I waited 6 or 7 months after she had laid for her.
Right, to start pairing her again. So she probably was building, right? And then went off food because her follicles had gotten so big.
That's what I was thinking.
That she was feeling like she was going to explode.
Yes.
So what I would have done is kept pairing her even though she went off food. Because probably what happened is she hit like that 20 millimeter mark.
Right.
And we usually want to get another lock in between 25 and 27. And then they usually ovulate around 30 to 35 millimeters. So she probably was building really hard for you, went off food because her follicles are growing so quickly that she felt uncomfortable. Yeah. And then by not pairing her again, you actually stimulated her to reabsorb.
Yep.
Yeah, so it happens. It's not a big deal. The good news is, like, there's next year. She'll go through the same cycle again. But now you know for next time, right? Which is
absolutely.
Why we're here and doing all this
exact thing.
This exact thing, right?
Exactly.
So that doesn't happen for you again, right?
And that's another thing too, because I wouldn't be surprised if that has happened to me a few times. Because that was my like first year of attempting to breed, and I was so hesitant. Like, it was last year, I was so hesitant to make the wrong like mistake or move. So like, for example, I was doing that. Even like my males would go off of food, I'd stop pairing just because I was scared of having like an animal die on me or anything like that. So it's really interesting to see like the progression of, like, you know, once you've actually had some experience like this. When I had that first clutch, I mean, it's just like unexplainable the way you go through the stages when you're first doing this, because it's just like you learn via your own experience how to care for these animals, or husbandry, how to make sure that they don't get sick. You're raising them up, and then you start to breed, and then you're learning like that aspect, and then a completely different aspect when you're actually like producing clutches. And now that I have my first hatchlings, I'm like offering food for the first, like, it's just like so crazy.
Yes.
There's so many things to learn, so many steps, like, and it's just like, at first I couldn't even imagine what it would feel like to have a clutch or have like see a female lay. Like it just, I couldn't even process it in my brain yet because it hadn't happened, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
That is so awesome. And I feel like that speaks like leaps and bounds for you as a person and as a breeder. You know, most people would be like, oh my gosh, I need to have this clutch. Like this girl went off food or this male went off food. Like, I don't care. I'm going to keep pairing it because it's all about the clutch, right?
Right.
And you were just like you're saying the exact opposite. Like you're like, I don't care if I get eggs out of this pairing or out of this girl or from this boy. Like my priority is the animal, and that's what it should be, right? Your priority should be the animals that are already in your care, not well, I don't care about that animal as long as I get
exactly.
So, yeah. So I think that speaks leaps and bounds for you as a breeder and as a person in general, and just as a reptile keeper.
Thank you.
Kate from HH had a really good question. So she said, what is the difference between hypo and DG? So in my opinion, the difference is hypo eliminates black. Like hypo gets rid of all your black. It's a true hypomelanistic animal, right? So it takes all the pigment out, any of the darkness out of the snake. It's almost like the opposite of xanthic, right? DG is just a cleaner, brightener gene. It makes your blacks more black. It makes your yellows and oranges more yellow, more orange. It gets rid of all that intermittent brown that you see like in pastel. We call it the dirtiness, right? All that brown freckling, things like that. Whereas hypo truly just gets rid of black in general, which can make an animal look really light and really bright depending on what is already in that morph, though.
Right.
You can still have a dirty hypo.
Yeah,
it just isn't as dark as.
It's just one's hypomelanistic and one isn't. I don't know how else to say it. Like from my like a scientific standpoint, when you look at the melanin in the skin of you look at something ultramelanistic that's like an all black animal, right? So you got your the black dragons, the Mexican black king snakes. Those are like ultra. So in ball pythons, there's only one snake named right, and that's the het red xanthic. Okay, that's a fact. The ultramel is not ultramelanistic by any means. Okay, ghost and hypo, like that's an argument I don't even want to get into. but it's just like one is just when you look at the cells, like down at the cellular level, like at the melanin is like non-existent in hypo, and if there is any, it's like spread thin, so it's see-through. Hypo, see-through both ways. Hypomelanistic, whereas desert ghost is like it has color, lots of it. Lots of beautiful color.
I know. I'm like looking at my racks right now, trying to see if I even have like two animals that would be comparable. Yeah, the only ones I have would be the two. I have a DG Lemon Blast that's actually Brandon's, and a Hypo Lemon Blast. So.
Oh, that's that's actually not a bad comparison. But is that girl ovulating?
Yeah, she's in the middle of ovulation. So.
My girl or.
Yeah, your girl. She's bowl wrapping right now.
Yeah, bitch. I sent Liz a breeder Lemon Blast Desert Ghost girl.
Oh,
so
nice.
She could put it to a monarch male.
So,
yeah. So,
wow, I love that. That's a joint project?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, DG Monarchs on the way. I gotta get a female.
Two giant girls, but
great example.
That's ridiculous. They're so big. Them bitches are so thick.
I know. So this is the hypo. This is the Hypo Lemon Blast, right? And then this. Oh, come on, sweet girl, work with me here.
She's kind of a bitch.
Yeah, she is. This is DG.
Yeah.
Right. So there's still black in this snake. Whereas this snake is gray, right? And then you can just see the color difference.
Yeah.
DG is a cleaner and color mutation.
Yes.
And then like Liz, you need to put those girls next to each other and do
take a
Instagram posts.
Yeah, I know.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was feeding tonight, so.
That
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's real loud.
Can I hear what?
Oh, I think that's the fan from when Liz gets up. See,
Oh,
fan behind her?
okay, yeah.
I think it might be the wind. I don't know. But she was just like moved out of the way. And then the cops are coming. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm like,
the cops are always coming.
Lord.
That's that bullshit, man.
When you live down, all you hear is sirens. It's I hate it.
Yo, I literally just got my record like clean. Like forever clean.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Spongeman clean?
Yeah, like FBI background check ain't picking it up clean.
That's nice.
Congrats. There you go.
Thank you, Army. Take that one on the way out the door. But so anyhow, Precious, like we were talking about how much you care about the animals and stuff. So what has been your biggest challenge as a breeder, as a newer breeder so far? What has been your biggest challenge, whether it's buying and selling, customer service, the animals themselves, in the hobby in general so far? What has been your biggest challenge?
I would say, because I feel like there's like a few answers I could give there, but I would say I've run into like a few challenges. One being like the family and social dynamic of like operating, like what I'm doing. I mean, I didn't really have like a plethora of like friends, or like I wasn't extremely social anyways. I'm a really big introvert, but it's just like now Indy is small, so when I go out and people like recognize me, it's like, oh, the steak lady, it's either like this negative response, or it's, I guess, the positive one, but the positive would be like, she does some weird shit, like like this is a weird shit. Like yes, even like with my family, it's just like, I guess, trying to get them to like understand like what I'm doing, like my mom not coming over my house, and that I feel like it's affected me in that respect socially. As far as like in the hobby, a challenge for me has been like space. I had to make like a really, really like big decision recently, which was like moving out of this apartment that I've been in I've been here for about 10 years. And I was ready to stay here until my son was like graduating high school. Like I was like, it's a great area. It's right downtown. It's like walking distance to all the bars that I love, like everything.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I never wanted to leave, but like space obviously became an issue. And then like this year, the lease I just signed for this apartment, they just now put a clause in there that there is no like reptiles allowed in the apartment.
Oh.
So I'm like, yeah, this isn't gonna work anymore. Not for me. So I recently had to like make the decision to like buy a house, and that's even though it's like a really, really great step, a great thing, it's a huge thing. I never really wanted to like be a homeowner, just because it's a lot of responsibility. But so it's still kind of scary to know like I am gonna make this step, but I'm doing it just for the snakes.
Yeah.
And hoping that everything turns out like for the better. But luckily I haven't really faced any challenges. I feel like I haven't really gotten to the step where I've experienced every aspect of being a breeder.
Right.
I know with my first clutch, the girl that laid for me, my fire pie, she laid 4 eggs, and I lost 2 of them during incubation, and that made me sick. I mean, I was like sick about it. I just couldn't like. I was so messed up about it.
I knew I would hit you hard, man.
It did. I was just like, what did I do wrong? Like it was like it really hit me, and it really messed me up, and I was really like depressed. Like I wouldn't say just sad, but I'm like, I'm gonna go full. Like, I was depressed for a few days. after it.
Yeah.
And you know, eventually, obviously, like got over it, and I knew that's what comes with the hobby, and what comes with it, and that there's going to be so much more things that I'm going to experience. It's going to mess me up that I'm going to have to learn how to deal with and overcome. So I just, you know, like I said, bit that bullet, but it was nice. I still got 2 snakes out of it. I had my first holdback from it. So,
Nice.
you know, it was a good experience, even with that, you know, portion of it. But I think that when it comes to breeding has been like the biggest challenge, like emotionally, because I knew I was going to have to deal with that, but I had no idea that it was going to feel that bad.
It definitely is.
It's rough, and
yeah,
I'll tell you that's so crazy. Because listen, I started breeding in a 2-bedroom apartment. I was breeding mice and rats in 1 bedroom and snakes in the other. And I was fucking sleeping in the living room. Oh, listen. I was like,
that is dedication.
Listen, I was a young sergeant. I like just made sergeant, and I was like, fuck yeah, I got all this sergeant money. I'm gonna go get this 2-bedroom apartment. I'm gonna fucking get back into snakes, man. So get this 2-bedroom apartment.
Yep.
I get the mice and the rats, and I get like a bunch of fans, and I put the 1 fan in the window facing outwards, you know, so it doesn't smell bad, and then I build my own racks and shit, and put all the snakes in it. And it's so funny because at 25 years old, I decided to buy my first house for $140,000.
Wow.
3-bedroom, 2-car garage. So I could breed more fucking snakes. Precious, you are doing the right thing.
That is hilarious.
Listen. Okay, and listen, now it's been almost 6 years after I bought that house, and by the end of this year, I'll be breeding ball pythons full time. So you are right on this track.
Cool. Okay, thank you for that motivation. Right,
you are like I started right where you're at. You are exactly where you're actually doing a lot better than me. You already have ARS. Right.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the only reason, you know, I tell people all the time I'll never leave Indy because I'm like 10 minutes from ARS. No, thank you. I'll stay where I'm at for now, you know.
Yes.
But it's funny that you say that because I am literally in my son's room right now. Like, this is my son's bedroom. And before, the rats were like all over my apartment, and I was operating with like belly heat. And I had it set up pretty cool, like where it was just like a reptile apartment, you know. It was just kind of like I was using the racks as furniture to decorate my apartment, and it looked very aesthetically pleasing. But then I decided that I was going to go ahead and switch to ambient heat just because it was literally just easier. I feel like when you're operating with like belly, or at least me, I was always just kind of nervous. Like I could never like have peace of mind, and not even like, oh, my apartment's gonna burn down, but like, oh, what if a probe gets knocked out of place with my breeding girls and, you know, kills their follicles? Like I was just always so paranoid. So I decided to go ahead and switch to ambient temp. And thank you. And you know, once I moved everything into my son's room, he's 9, and I guess I'm just gonna put this out here, but you know, he always had like trouble literally sleeping on his own, right? So I would put him to bed and he would sleep in his bed, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and guess who's in my bed? You know?
Yeah. So I have a 6-year-old that's like that.
The moment I moved the snakes into his room, he hasn't been back in my bed. It's hilarious.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
He literally told me, he was like, yeah, finally I have some company. Because I actually like asked him, like, yeah, you haven't been in my room, like, you know, in a while. He's like, yeah, I like the snakes in my room. I'm like, oh, okay.
Awesome.
But yeah, so it's like, you know, with doing this, it feels like complete struggle bus, like having all this like like these racks in like awkward places, but like you do what you have to do until you're like in a position you want to be. And that's pretty much like what I'm doing. So
for sure. Yeah, we started out in the old coal room in our basement, and I used to play Jenga with my racks. Like my racks are stacked 3 deep, and I had to like move. There was like a big one on the back, and then like half ones in the middle, and we would literally like Jenga them around in the room. And finally, we ended up moving them upstairs. Well, we have a 2-bedroom house, so we had a little one. I think for about probably 18 months till we finished this room down here and got everything going the way that we wanted. And part of it, right, was because we moved them not during the breeding season and then wanted to be able to move them again not during the breeding season. So we ended up getting this room finished, but we didn't move them down for like another 4 months after the room was finished. And so there wasn't even room for a bed. I live in a tiny little 2-home bungalow, 2 bedrooms. And so my daughter stayed in our room for like 18 months. We have like a 10 by 12 bedroom. You know, she was young. She was newborn baby, like from the age of like 6 months till, 18 months or something like that. But yeah, so I get the space cramp sometimes.
Yeah, like it has been interesting, so hopefully I just bought like, I have my, breeder female, and then I have my males in that rack, and I have a grow out rack, and now I just purchased like a hatchling rack that holds about 30 hatchlings, even though I won't have 30 hatchlings, but it's just like I want to be prepared, so it's like I went from, I think in the last maybe like 6 months or so, like being crammed for like space. Like I remember I couldn't buy any more snakes. Like I couldn't, because I just didn't have the space to where now. Yeah.
Empty rack space is like the kiss of death for a snake.
Yes,
exactly. I remember when we bought the Freedom Breeder, I think we had 15 out of the 40 tubs full. And I was like, we won't need to buy another rack forever. I think within 6 months that like my entire Freedom Breeder rack was full. And I was like, where did all these snakes go?
Yes. I am now just at a place where I have like an abundance of space. And I'm like, God, I hope it stays that way, because it's just like, you get to a point where you're like, you have a bunch of space and then you have no space. Like, so we'll see what happens.
I have no space. I hoard.
Yeah.
I don't like to sell. Shit.
Yeah.
I don't have any space.
One thing that you mentioned, Precious, about doing the ambient is, what do you keep your ambient at?
So I keep it at 84.
Yeah.
But it kind of fluctuates 1 degree depending on how high I have my air. So like, and I feel like, and that's why I actually keep my air at like 73. And that has
dedication. Dedication, girl. I live in the Midwest. I know how hot and humid and shitty it is here.
It's so funny because like I almost have gotten accustomed to them. Like if my apartment is anywhere below 72, I'm almost freezing. Like it's weird. Like
that's wild.
Yeah, literally. I can't.
Our house is like 68, like maybe 70 on a good day.
It's not.
I said right at 70. I said
yeah,
right at 70.
no, I'm
there are days I am literally walking around here and it's 78 degrees in my apartment. Like literally. But I will say that I can't wait until I can operate somewhere that's more reasonable, like where it's just spacious, because I'm in an apartment and it's separated by just walls and rooms. It'll be nice to like actually have like temperature fluctuation within a house, so I can like be cool, like so
yes, for sure. One thing that you might want to keep in mind, I just actually picked them up, not sponsored here, guys. The Herpstat spider webs. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Spider Robotics. They make the Herpstat thermostats, which a lot of people have heard of. They have a new one that they just came out with that's the Spider Webs, and they are Wi-Fi compatible. And so
they're like a brick.
Yeah, they're really not. They're not that much bigger than.
You don't think so?
I don't really think so.
Well, I only have Herpstat 2s. So mine are all the thin guys.
Yeah, so the spider webs, I mean, they're a little bit bigger, but they're not too bad. But they're Wi-Fi compatible. You can set them up to send you notifications anytime they go above or below like your high alert or low alert. And then they actually have a emergency remote shutoff. So like if you are not in the area and you notice that your temps are getting really high or they're getting too low, you know, you could turn it off. Another thing I really like about it, and you can turn it on remotely too. But one thing that I really like, especially being here where we get all the thunderstorms, now we have all of our thermostats hooked up to surge protectors. But, you know, there's going to be a really bad storm and you're maybe worried about like a surge protector faltering or something like that. You can turn the herpstat off remotely so that there is an electrical surge. Or I know a lot of time our power flickers on and off like every 5 to 10 minutes, which is bad for anything electronic that you have in your house. Right. But especially a thermostat, you can just remotely turn it off so it doesn't allow any power to come and go to the thermostat so you're not blowing it. It has like a chart that you can look up online that tells you like exactly where your temps have been every 15 minutes for the past 3 days. That's awesome. Yeah, they're really cool. So definitely something we're planning on upgrading all of our stuff to them. We just purchased 3, but it's so nice to have that peace of mind. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah,
it is no, I love Spider Robotics. If you guys, and I mean, I'm not gonna trash like the VEs because I got VE thermostats.
Oh yeah, that's all we've used to this point.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah, I've been changing everything over to nothing but Herpstat 2s, particularly because all my stuff is 10 high. So I can do 5 and 5, and then only on the 2s because I got a 6 and a 4.
So guys, what Brandon's talking about real quick though, Brandon, that only works if you can plug your heat in individually for each level, or you have 2 levels of 5, right? So a lot of PVC racks or like the heat tape goes through the whole rack. It won't work, right? There's only one outlet, so right.
Not unless you cut it and splice it
and redo it. Yeah. So anyway, didn't mean to interrupt you, but just
you're good. So
understand how that works.
Yeah, so I'll do 5 and 5, but only on the 2s can you see the percentage of watt output that your thermostat is letting through. So I like to get mine to temp, and then you can control the percentage. So I have mine set to 68%. So it'll save you on the electric bill as well.
Wow.
And Spider Robotics is so badass. So they sell plastic probes, which I don't like. I like the metal probes because metal is a better temperature conductor than plastic is. And this shit is badass. I don't own one, so I don't know what it looks like. But Spider Robotics has a probe that does temperature. It's a thermometer and a hygrometer, so it'll tell you the humidity.
No, it won't. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big old fucking. It looks like a little pocket rocket you pick up at Spencer's or some shit. Yeah. Like it's but it's expensive too. I think it's $50 or $60.
Yeah, but it does do both.
Probe. It's awesome,
You could also set and this doesn't apply to ball pythons, and then we'll move on here. But you could also set one thing I like for my monitor. So you can actually set 3 different daytime, or I think up to 4 different periods of time to be certain temperatures, right? So like for my monitor, I can hook it up now to where like in the morning between 8 and 10, I can have his temp be like, his hot spot's 100 degrees. And then his basking point. And then in the afternoon, I can set it to be like his normal 130. And then I can cool it back down for night and then just have a steady temperature overnight. But it's more natural, in my opinion, right? Because like naturally in the wild, you don't have a hot spot of 140 degrees all day, right? It's high sun and low sun. You can do different things like that. And especially if we ever decided to like breed any kind of lizard, I think having more of a natural cycle helps them go through kind of their natural cycle too. So just a lot of really cool features of the different herpstats. They've worked very well for us so far. But yeah, that peace of mind, guys, it can save you real quick.
You know what's funny, what I find so funny, right, is Sensor Push came out, and Sensor Push was like, here's all this badass Sensor Push shit that'll tell you everything, and then Spider Robotics was just like, we're going to take a Sensor Push and just put it in the thermostat. Fuck you, Sensor
Pretty much.
Push.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Sensor Push.
Yeah, and it's funny, they explain how they've been trying to do this forever, but haven't been able to get a hold of the Wi-Fi technology without paying like hundreds of dollars per piece, right? And they're like, no one's going to pay $400 more for a thermostat just to have the Wi-Fi compatible. So now they're only like, I think it's maybe $50 difference. Like, it is not a lot. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I paid $229 for my Herbstat 2, the spiderweb version. And I think the regular ones are like $189 or maybe.
I think they're $189. Yeah.
Yeah, so not a bad difference at all. No, for sure.
Yeah, I fucking love that thermostat.
All right, Precious. What is the best piece of advice you've received since starting in the industry, whether it be breeding or pairings or how to start your collection?
I would say the best piece of that's hard. That is very hard because I feel like it's been advice this entire time.
I was gonna say, give me the top 5.
I can't even think of that.
I know. Give me like your 5 big points.
I feel like a lot of my just what I've learned has been just advice after advice after advice, like, you know. So I would say when I first started out and I knew I wanted to do this, I was watching like Billy, Mutation Creation, like super hard, like on, you know, his YouTube. And I know that, you know, he was always promoting like putting yourself out there on social media. And I think that that was probably top piece of advice. And it wasn't even direct, it was very indirect advice that he was just, you know, telling everyone that he does even to this day. That you have to put yourself out there. You know, people are not going to buy from who they don't know. And even you don't have to do it like, you know, to the extreme. Like, you know, I think that has really helped my social platform. People like getting to know who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and the genuine need behind like me wanting to be in this hobby. So that's number one. As far as another piece of advice, which was another indirect statement, I can't remember where I got this from, but I think it's pretty common knowledge now. But it was when I first started out in the hobby, I was buying what I could afford, right? And that was not much. You know, it's just like, oh, I just want a bunch of snakes. You know, I want to do this. I want to practice. And I was just buying kind of like whatever, with no plan, you know? And, you know, God, I wish I remember where I heard this from, but somebody told me that, you know, you need to have a plan, like a breeding projects and plans when you're doing this, obviously, and try to at least stick to your breeding projects. And don't, you know, skimp out on your genetics. You know, if you have $5,000 to spend, don't go buy 20, you know, $200 animal. You know, don't go and spend your money like that. You know, buy 2 nice animals, 1 nice female. Like, I think that was a key piece of advice because it kind of switched the way that I operate now. You know, if instead of buying a snake that when I don't know, I guess want to spend money. I don't know, but it's more so like I'm going to save towards getting this snake. Yes. I'm going to invest my money. When I started looking at this as more of an investment versus
definitely.
Hobby, it really changed the way I spend my money, like in this.
Once you can step out of that spending what I'm comfortable with zone, right? And it doesn't always happen. Like, you've jumped into it really quick, which I think is awesome, right? But it doesn't always happen for everyone the first year or the first season. Sometimes it does take a couple seasons to kind of like get some time under your belt and some experience for people to make that jump. But whenever people decide to make it, whether it's 6 months in or 6 years in, whenever you decide to make that jump of this is what I'm comfortable spending money on to this is like what I need almost to spend money on, right? And get those quality animals in, it makes a huge difference in your collection and what you're producing and your overall, I mean, just everything. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Just like you said, whether it's your first year or your 6th year, like it extends even past the snakes. Like I was buying Reptile Basics, which I still love Reptile Basics. I think it's one of the better PVC racks. But I switched over to buying ARS very quickly, because it's just like I want what's gonna last. I want the best, and it's forever. And when I tell you, I don't think I will ever buy any other rack besides ARS or like Freedom, a metal rack. Period.
Yeah.
So like, and obviously it's gonna be ARS because it's convenient for me. But like, regardless, that's what I'm gonna stick to. But I think that advice alone kind of established me where I am in the hobby so far, like just my mindset and where I want to go and how I want to operate that quality over quantity, So yeah, I would say those are probably the top 2 pieces of advice that I've got.
Those are pretty damn good pieces of advice.
Yeah. For sure. I would say another really good one, and I'm sure you've heard this a ton of times, Bridget, is stop chasing like the next big thing.
Yes.
Right? Like if you guys, if you want to go broke in this industry, which we're already like, all of us are almost there anyway. No. But if you want to go there quicker, like chase projects.
Yeah.
Because you are never going to get ahead of the people that are already in, right?
Yeah.
Like by the time your animals have grown and it's 3 years from now, it's going to be a completely different project. Like you're going to sell those animals and go after the next big project then, right? Because so much changes in this industry from year to year. I think this goes back to our organic growth.
Yep.
Buy what you like.
So important.
Pick the projects that you want to work with that appeal to you, and then just grow as the hobby grows, as the collection grows, as your animals grow. All of us are going to miss that odd of a goal animal and go out and buy, drop some money and buy it, or whatever the case may be. Or we're going to decide that we're heavy in, whatever project and we just want this one codom or this another recessive to go with. It's always going to happen. You're going to have to pick up bits and pieces. But if you're throwing aside all of your other projects to go for this next thing and you keep like that, you never get anywhere, guys. It just doesn't.
Like buying and then reselling and then buying and then you're like, it's just, that's a vicious cycle. Yeah, that's a dangerous line that some people toe. I refuse. I always buy what, like you said, like what I like and what I like. There's actually a project that I'm like working on, and I came about it like myself just out of the desire of the genetics that I wanted to work with. And I found out that a bunch of people in India are actually doing the same thing, ironically. And I was just like, I don't care. I really like those genetics, and I'm gonna make like that. That's a project I want to work with. I don't care how profitable it is in the next 2 years. It's what I wanted to work with. It's what I want to produce. So I think that's the mentality that you have to have, because if you have to eat it later, you have to figure out a way to be okay with that.
100%. Totally.
It's more than even that. You know how we talked about the spark and how it's always there now? Because we're, the ball's always rolling. This shit, once you're there, like, I finally am to the point where I'm like, all right, my first incubator's full, and that's the biggest one they sell at Sea Serpents. I'm filling up the other biggest incubator they sell at Sea Serpents. Yep. And I'm like, this is a lot of fucking work.
Yes.
This is all I do. Like, this is all I do. So,
hatchling season is so exciting. It's 200 hatchlings.
Yeah, if you look at my Instagram, dude, it's like I post
constant.
consistently every day.
Yeah.
Now it's like twice a week.
I have over 200 eggs in my incubator right now.
Yeah.
You know, you go from having, I have about 150 animals, including like 2020 holdback, 2020, 2019 breeders, that kind of stuff. I got 150. I'm about to literally more than double my collection for probably 6 months out of the year. And then it'll go back down to about that 150 animals again. Then you'll be that way for like 4 months. And then, 6 months out of the year, you double your collection. It's just crazy. But yeah, guys, grow organically. I think one of the funniest things is I brought into the Hypopide project about 3 years ago, and a guy that was trying to mentor me at the time. Surprisingly enough, he didn't realize that I had been breeding for longer than he had. And I've only been breeding for 6 years. This is my 7th season. This was 3 years ago. So this guy had like 2 years of experience under his belt, but he was offering like a mentorship program for a lot of people. And so I just kind of let him message me and went along with it. He told me that was the dumbest decision I ever could have made because the Hypopide project is dead.
Really?
Yeah,
so that's
really. Seems pretty hot to me right now, right? So people are going to hate on your projects. They're going to hate on what you're doing. They're going to tell you that there's no value in that animal. It takes one person to make one combo that can completely change a whole everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, another thing is I hate it when people are like you said, you found out there's people in India that are working on the same project as you. So many people would have given up and gone in a different direction. They find out that Ozzy or Billy or Kabulka or Miguel are decided to move towards the same project or move towards the same combo. And then people give up on it because they're like, man, they're going to hit it before I do, or they're going to make it before I do. They have so many more chances. I'm like, Brandon's over here like, no. And I always think back to where like Kabulka thought that the Sumapide couldn't be made because he made like 180 some eggs that were supposed to hit the Sumapide and never hit it, right? It all comes down to the odds, guys. Just because someone else is chasing it does not mean that they're going to hit it. Yeah, we know, Brandon. You don't like hypo. Baby, so he's got to hate on it all the time.
I do think the Hypopide project is a really badass project. I think Hypo Impide, and Exanthic Impide, and Desert Ghost Impide, like those 3 types of like mutations go really, really well.
I mean, my Hypopide is probably one of my favorite snakes in my collection.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I love mine.
Yeah.
I think she's just gorgeous.
See, that's a very factual statement, right?
Yes.
Because these animals don't have real intrinsic value. No, it's whatever we assign to them.
Exactly.
The market assigns to them. And that's the other thing. If you're doing this shit, right, like I was saying, it's a lot of fucking work. So if you're not hatching stuff that you're excited about or you like, dude, you're gonna be doing a lot of work.
You'll burn out. You'll just burn out.
You'll burn out, and it
won't be for you. It's got to be for you and the passion first.
It does, because I'm telling you, like I'll be working my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I can't stand being behind my desk now. Where this was a job that I loved. Because it's a lot of money. Like, and I was thinking, like, wow, I love my job because I can live this comfortable life.
I was in the same position. This is great.
I can't stand being behind my desk now. I always say, like, I have ADD now. Like when I'm like, behind my computer because I can only focus on like wanting to be in my snake room, and it's crazy because I would rather clean snake poop
yes
than doing my regular job, and I know, and I'm not making any money right now. Okay.
Yes.
Like I have a job where I make really decent money versus, being in this room and not producing anything, yet. And I would rather be doing this, so I just can't wait until it actually like starts to gain some momentum and turning it into like a full-time thing. Like that is the goal, because like who wouldn't want to make money doing what you love? Who wouldn't want to make money?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And eventually it's just taking the leap. And it's scary and it's terrifying and it sucks. But it's taking that leap. I was the same thing. I worked computer programming. I made really good money doing that. Computer programmers, they're in such high demand, right? It's one of those jobs where it's like everything's run by a computer. If you know the languages and you can write a program, like you're golden, And I worked it and I ended up quitting my job. I didn't tell Kyle that I was quitting. I cut our income by more than 60%. And I was like, no, I'm doing this full time. And I went to this full time. I was doing horses on the side as well. And then when COVID and everything hit, the barns closed down. Like, we're in Illinois. We weren't allowed to go do anything. So I kind of quit that and just went with the snakes full time. And, we had been breeding for this would have been our fourth or fifth season when I decided to quit, go part-time. And it's a scary jump. But when you realize that you do as well as you do now, with all of your focus going to a 9-to-5, right? 40 hours a week to a 9-to-5. When you take, and how much you still get done. I mean, your YouTube is crazy awesome. Your social media. Imagine taking 40 more hours a week. And putting it towards.
I couldn't even imagine.
When you can allow all of your focus to go into this, there's something that it really changes how much you're, capable of.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day.
During the week when I miss a week or two of uploading or editing because I have to work my regular job.
Yeah.
It literally irritated, it's just crazy. And then when I do edit something or edit a few videos and upload, I feel good. I feel great about that. And that hasn't translated during my day job anymore. It sucks. It's so funny because I always tell people I'm so glad I've gotten to this point because I feel like I'm free now. I feel like I'm no longer confined to this mentality that I have to work this job for the rest of my life and do this in order to survive. No, I actually found something that I literally want to do, that I enjoy doing. And it feels like freedom. And I can't wait until the next step, because like you said, it's a lot of work, but when you're enjoying it, it doesn't feel like.
Yeah, it's not work.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I never feel like I'm working.
And that doesn't mean every day, guys. I'm sure there's times, Precious, that you come home and you're like, God, I just want to go to bed. I don't have to go upstairs or go into the other room and check on the snake.
Yes.
Not most days, right? But I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like when they have those down days that's not normal, right? For people that have a passion for this. Guys, it's normal. Everyone's going to have their day where they're just you might want to go in and look at your steaks, but you're I know I'm going to go in there and open that tub. I'm going to have to clean it out or change the water or, do something. So, just remember that the next day is better, right? Yeah. It's not, it doesn't have to be every day. We don't have to be every day about this.
Exactly.
So, Precious, who is someone that you look up to in the industry? And why?
I mean, there's so many people. I think that when I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling and I see someone putting themselves out there, posting some dope animal or an accomplishment, their clutches that they've just had or ovulations, it makes me feel. It motivates me. It makes me feel so good. It's inspiring. Whether it's someone who has 70K or 150K followers versus someone who has 50. I think that I can't say that there's any one particular person because there's just so many breeders. When I came into this, meeting as many people as I did, you guys, even for example, meeting you guys in person, it's just I got to meet people that I admire and that I look up to. You know, it's not just like these big heads that are doing this, you know, these amazing things. I think it's so many people. I look up to a lot of the women in this hobby that are really doing what they're doing and like pretty much putting a stamp, you know, down, like we're here, we're doing it, and we're, you know, we're not going anywhere, you know. So it's just that I cannot answer specifically. I think that there's just way too many people and breeders that I look up to, especially after going to Arlington, especially after going to Tinley. Like it's just too many. There's way too many.
I agree with that.
That's a tough one. I don't think it would be anyone in the ball python community. For me, it'd probably just be some guy over there killing poachers in Africa. That's my hero in the industry.
Yes.
You shoot that son of a bitch who wants to kill that elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yes.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. And I feel like you could take bits and pieces of like from everyone.
You can.
Right? You know?
Yeah, stuff is like when you look at things, who is it? Is it Matt and Anya Littlefield that have that badass show display? The one with like it's like big and metal and like welded together with grates. You know what I'm talking about? They're at the end.
Yes. So they actually have like it goes from the floor to like chest height, and it's like a display.
Yeah,
like almost like I can't remember who it was, but yeah, they were at Arlington. They were like I don't remember. There's like eye candy morphs, and then they were at like the end of that hall.
Yeah, they were past eye candy. Yeah. Yeah, I can't ever remember who that is.
Oh, I feel so bad, but
I know Dave Kaufman gave him the Rattle On Award for the best show display one year. But,
just something different, right?
Yeah,
like
it's different. That's what it is. You look at how people market themselves and what's your niche, or precious pythons. You got a very Egyptian. You have a pharaoh, is that, or a queen as your logo?
Yep.
I don't know what the female pharaoh.
I love it.
Cleopatra. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know who Cleopatra was. Actually, she was the queen of. She actually ruled all of Africa at one point, but. I know a little bit about history. Alex, I know a lot about war history, and she was involved in a lot of that.
Yeah.
She was.
She loved her little Greek boys. I'll tell you, she had Greek boys all over the place. Greek boys and ball pythons. Let me tell you, just like you look at how we always refer to Justin because he's almost the top tier industry of what it is to be a professional ball python breeder, right? Mm-hmm. Look at how the dude markets himself. You look at his facility; he's always coming out with new stuff, and he's very punny. Like when I see a Justin something, it's punny. Like the Kraken on the boat.
Yeah.
The leak for the photos, that video, Kraken on the boat. That's like punny. Because of Pirates of the Caribbean. And that's a very JKR style of marketing. And,
very like dad jokey.
Yeah.
Like it's funny, but there's never anything like inappropriate, right? It's very
yeah, that's why it's punny with a P.
Yes.
Yeah, it's punny. So you look, or at Ozzy, Liz, we talked one time, you said, I can look at a snake and I can tell if it was hatched by Ozzy. Because his snakes have a look, right? His logo is a boa, but it's very, all bright orange and red. Yeah. So it's just taking bits and pieces. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't really look up to anybody. I figured it out on my own and have a mentor.
Same.
Okay, yeah, we both came up in that era where you getting shit on. Motherfuckers were like, fuck you,
You
bro.
find like your one or two people that are willing to truthfully answer your questions.
And like, that's it.
And like that's it, but they don't it's one of those things where they don't tell you what you don't know. You know what I mean? So unless you're willing to unless you know to ask that question, you're not getting the information.
And even then, back then, a lot of the time they'd be like, "Well, are you trying to buy an animal from me?"
Yeah,
I'm not trying to sell. I'll sell you information for this animal.
Yeah, exactly. or you tell them something that you were looking into, or like, I want to get into this project, and then they tried to sell you like a whole bunch of stuff, you know. And yeah, so it's just a different world, but it's really cool now how much the industry has actually come together as a whole. So how did like Precious Pythons come about? Like, what was the thought process behind the whole theme? Like, I get it, because I'm obviously really big on the whole theme thing too, right? And I guess mine kind of came off of, mine's really boring. It kind of bloomed into something more fun. Like, Royal Reptiles came from like the Royal Python, right? Which is your other common name for a ball python. So, but I knew I wanted to play off this whole purple and gold and like stuff behind it. So how did Precious Pythons come about and the whole theme of everything?
So it started because I don't know if most people know. So I'm actually second generation Nigerian. I'm Nigerian American. My mom was born in Lagos, Nigeria. And when I did the research behind ball pythons and found out that their actual name was Royal Pythons, and that it kind of stemmed from the whole them being considered, you know, royalty by you know, Egyptians and everything like that. I like I said, I dived deep into the research, found out that they actually originated in West Africa, which is, you know, where Nigeria and, you know, all that sits. And then, of course, they were imported into Egypt. And I read that, you know, Cleopatra was walking around her palace with ball pythons around her neck and her wrist. You know, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to kind of stay true to that, I guess, original kind of theme that they're royalty. And it was really a great feeling to know that they, like, you know, are African snakes, you know. So I knew I wanted to do something with like a woman representing like the logo, and I thought that Cleopatra was like the best, you know, option. So I kind of played off of that. I used my name Precious Pythons because it's an adjective. There you go. Right. So that's kind of where it all stemmed from. And as far as like the logo, I actually was just like looking online at different images of Cleopatra, and I kind of like took a few and like pieced them together. Went on Fiverr, the app, reached out to some overseas company in India, asked him if he could like told him exactly what I wanted. I was very descriptive because you have to be with some of those. And this was like the first draft, and I was like, I love it. Let's go with it. And you know, I just went ahead and bought it, and that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
I love having a company name or logo that you can build off of. I feel like that's so important and something a lot of people don't think about, because to be able to have almost like a company theme opens up so many more doors and options, whether it comes to, you know, setting up your table at a show and being able to have like a theme to play off of, or social media, like having, you know, props or photos and different stuff to just kind of be able to play off of. Or now, like, who knew the sticker thing was going to be so big? Like, that was not a thing when we started. Like, no one, most people didn't even have a logo, and if they did, it was like two snakes and then like their name in the middle, you know, like that was a logo. And the sticker thing got so big, and so to be able to have like, and now people have limited edition stickers and different stuff, you know, it's like, so in order, you know, to be able to have a theme that you can kind of play off of, I feel like is really important, and especially for marketing purposes.
I also, like, even when I would go on Instagram and Facebook and look at the different like breeders, you know, sometimes I was curious as to, like, you know, going and seeing, like, you know, you have these names of the breeders, you know, breeding business, and I knew I wanted to have my name associated with it, just because, you know, sometimes you kind of wonder, like, who am I reaching out to? Is it like, so it was kind of something I wanted to keep very personal too. You know, I didn't want it to seem, I thought Precious Pythons was like appropriate because I'm operating it by myself, and it was something that I kind of like, you know, brought up myself, and I wanted people to be able to reach out to me in a personable fashion where they could be like, hey, Precious, instead of like, I mean, I don't know what else I would have named it, but like sometimes you see people calling they'll reach out to a breeder and they're calling the breeder by, you know, whatever the name of the.
Oh, I get Hey Royal all the time, you know, like
I get there's B2 from Oodles.
Yeah, I get Hey Royal all the time. So
sure,
that's awesome.
So Precious, do you want this to be then? Okay, the goal then is to be full time. For you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. It did not start off that way, but as I continued to do it, it became very apparent that the desire is to do this full time. It's just, is it practical? Like, you know, that's the worry. You know, it's funny because it's just like, I think to myself, like, my son is halfway. I always look at him like he's halfway grown now. Like, I have 9 more years and he's gonna be
gone, out. You know, so it's just like 18, you're out. I don't give a crap. You're out. You're gone.
So it's all about like asking, like, what is practical? Like, you know, can I do this for the next 7 years or so, and then take care of myself, the snakes, my son, and you know? So it's like, if that answer is a solid yes, I mean, I can imagine not doing it full time. Like, you know, it's just to me, it would be a no brainer. You know. Obviously, like Liz said, it would be, I could imagine like taking that leap is like an anxiety attack waiting to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. And there's going to be days when you first do it, and then you're going to be like,
what did I do?
Yeah, this was stupid. Why did I do this? You know, like, no snacks. Like, everyone, it's 3 dinners, you know, like, no, it's like, ramen for the 6th time this week. All right, let's go. Like, I found some pretty fancy dishes on, like, you know, those TikToks. It's like how you make dinner for less than $5. It's like, all right, a package of bologna and some ramen. Like, let's get to it.
Yeah.
You know,
fucking like it. Learn to like it, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know, when we first made the jump, there were some months that it was like, all right, you know, we're just gonna have to hope that this slides through, you know. But there's also months when you're like on top of the world, right? I think we talked about it a little on our last live. You know, there's months where you got hatchlings rolling in. It's great. Like, people are sending money in your PayPal every day. You're like, I'm the richest woman in America. Like, you know, this is the best thing ever. And then all of a sudden, all the hatchlings are gone. And then you're like, it's crickets. Like, I go from people knocking down my messages and I even get people now that just randomly send me money. Like, I don't even know what it's for. I'm like, what snake are we putting this money down on? You know, and they're like, I just wanted to make sure that I got it before someone else, like, you know, I wanted to make sure I had a deposit on it now, you know? And I'm like, okay, you know, and sometimes it just happens that way. And then again, you know, you'll get to the months where stuff isn't hatching out all the time. And then it's like dead for 4 or 5 months, you know, and it's fine as long as you are prepared for those 4 or 5 months, right? When stuff isn't just like flying in. So it's a lot of self-discipline. It's a lot of just knowing how your season goes too, right? Like, that's why it's nice, I feel like, to have a few seasons under your belt before you jump like full-time. Because you can see like where your highs and lows are as as the year progresses and season goes on, and then, you know, you figure out your average and all that fun adult stuff that no one ever wants to do. And so, but yeah, you know, it's definitely a learning curve for sure. You know, you're not guaranteed, right? You're not guaranteed that paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever, you know, however it is that it's set up. Yeah, it's not a guaranteed thing. It's like all right, we have to hope that on average we get around this much, and then you budget off that. And, you know, that's where it's nice to have some other side things coming and going.
Even like a second income too. Like, that's one thing that, like, you know, I'm a single mom. Like, so it's just like, there wouldn't be any like fallback on income. Yeah. That would be.
Yeah. And that's where like passive income comes in too, right? We need to do an investment one sometime, Brandon, we need to find a good investment guy and bring him in because, you know, you can work as many jobs as you want. There are only so many hours in a day, right? I could work 20 hours every day and still not make enough money, right? Depending on what I'm doing or the month. And that's why passive income is so important, especially when you have a full-time job kind of like this, right? You just know that is going to constantly be making money and you're not putting effort towards it, right? Because at the end of the day, again, there's only so many hours.
I'm glad you said something because I need to check something right now because I think I'm making money. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm making money. All right, we're good, man. Motherfuckers can't be fucking with my money, dude. I'm telling you.
Exactly. You know,
I was like, I can't remember what the fuck happened. It was like a pied. I remember it was a pied and it got delivered to the wrong place. But I just remember like I was in the middle of like a class and I'm on the phone and I'm like, this is like an army class too. And I'm like on the phone, like real quiet, like down here. And then as soon as I heard that snake got like delivered to like the wrong address, I like slammed my hand on the desk and stood up and I was like, you better not be fucking with my money. I'll come to wherever you are and I'll fucking kill. I was losing it. I was like, I'll come to that delivery service, fucking kill you and burn that place to the goddamn ground. I was so mad. I don't like people. Man. I don't like people fucking with my money, man. I don't play that shit. It's my
It's my money.
I don't like that shit, man. I don't even trust my own bank with my own money. Like, them motherfuckers better recognize. They better fucking know. Precious, the next question is really a really important one. Because I'm real curious. Do you think that being a woman affects your sales and purchases? If so, how? Yeah, she got real. Sorry about that.
Well, you know, I haven't sold anything quite, so it's hard to say. I don't.
Oh, fuck.
I know. She has such a great presence, like amazing collection. It's just amazing to believe like you just had your first clutch.
Yeah, dude.
You know, I will say that makes me nervous. And I'm about to find that out. You know, because I've wondered that, like, if it's gonna be, you know, between I have something for sale, someone else has something for sale, and it's like I don't get chosen for that purchase because I'm a woman or, you know, something like that. I don't know.
Do you feel any sort of stigma that way now? Like as far as like going to shows, being around people in the community, doing business with vendors and sellers, and because you bought all those snakes from somebody, right? So what I'm saying is, I'll switch up the question then to sort of fit the situation a little better. Being a woman in the reptile industry, have you noticed that were you like ever treated different, or do you notice that things might be easier or harder for you or than it would be for somebody else, or anything like that at all?
I don't. I can't say that there's any different treatment. When it comes to interaction on a selling, buying standpoint, or in the hobby, like from when I say that, I'm talking like my counterparts, like my peers, right? People that are also breeders, right? I can't say that there's been any type of difference that I've sensed from anyone.
Good.
Luckily, which is great, and I can't believe how much love like that has been shown, you know, and I can't say that so I haven't gotten any negative, anything like that. As far as if I've gotten that positivity, because I'm a woman, I can't say that it's looked like one way or another. Now, as far as people that aren't breeders, because I have a lot of like, people that watch my YouTube that aren't breeders, where like, for example, there's nothing more disappointing than like posting a YouTube video, and I'm like looking at like the comments and like looking for the reactions, and I get something that's completely unrelated to the like video, and it's all about like, you know what I look like or anything like that. It's just
Yeah, that unwanted attention.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part. I always feel so bad because there are a lot, and I mean this in a very mature way. There's a lot of like really attractive women in our industry, man. Like all right,
Oh yeah.
and take that, you know, that's a compliment. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I personally don't care what your fucking gender is. I care that you're producing badass animals. I care about results. That's me, right? I think it's great that we have more women in the industry, especially.
I love it. I'm so glad I actually there's like more girls coming in the industry now.
Yes.
I remember 7 years ago, like it was Desiree from like Cold Blooded was, you know, still kind of doing stuff, and even then she wasn't as active as she is now. And then like Sheena from JSA was another one, but
Brittany Chase from Chasing Balls and Alyssa from Full Throttle.
Yeah, they were kind of in, and yeah, they were in then too. And I even think Brittany started around the time I did. I don't think they've been.
Because I started when you did.
Yeah,
and they were what do you call it? Not Reptile people yet.
No, yeah, we've been in Reptile, so that's what Brittany and Deb came in. So there's definitely a lot more, which I think is great. I think one thing for you, Precious, that I don't think, because I haven't found that. I haven't found like people find out I'm a woman, they don't want to buy for me, or they give me better deals or anything like that. And I think you won't find many issues with that because it's just you. But what I do find is like we'll be at shows and people always think that it's Kyle. Like it's me and him both behind the table.
Oh.
And so they automatically assume that I'm the wife and Kyle is the one that runs the show if they don't know who we are. And it's real funny because I'll have people like come up to the table and I'll be like, hey, and they'll have a steak or something, you know, and I'll be like, hey, can I answer a question for you? Or they'll be looking at something and they'll be like, oh, no, it's okay. Like, we're waiting to ask him because they've seen us online. Like, they've seen Royal Reptiles. They've seen our comments, right? But it always comes from Royal Reptiles. And so at first I was always like, oh, I can help you. And they'd be like, no, it's fine. You know, so now I just started being like, you know, they'll be like, oh, no, we're just waiting for him to get done because they'll be talking to someone or whatever. And I'll be like, okay. And they'll sit around and wait for 20, 25 minutes for him to get done. And then he'll walk over and I'll be like, and I'll go and I'll be like, these people have a question for you. And he'll be like, oh, okay. And he'll go over there and they'll tell him the question. And then he'll be like, well, I don't know, Liz. And he'll like call me over. And you just see their eyes get like so big. Like they look at him and look at me and look at him. And then they're like the realization sets in.
Yeah.
So it's
they had to waste that 20 minutes.
Because you didn't want to tell me the question. So I've had that happen just a couple times, which I just think it's funny when it happens. I just kind of blow it off. You know, it is what it is. And most people assume, like I even tell Brandon, like people hit me up on Insta and they'll be like, hey, dude, or hey, man, you know, or whatever. It's just like people just automatically assume, but that doesn't like bother me by any means, right? Like I get it. I don't care. If I was talking to a random breeder, I'd probably do the same thing because I would automatically assume. I mean, it's a male-dominated industry in all honesty, right? So, but yeah, I've had little things like that, but I've never had anything big as far as like, oh, you're a woman, or you know, we're not going to buy from you, or whatever the case.
I can't even imagine if I would be shocked.
It would probably be someone that I wouldn't want to sell my snakes to anyway. Like everyone in the industry has been so open and so inviting. I mean, there has been maybe a couple vendors that I've like gone up to and been like, hi, and they'll be like, hey, and then Kyle will come up and they'll be like, hey, and he'll be like, oh, dude, what are you buying? You know, and I'm just like, it is what it is. And it's normally people that aren't around very long. Like I've noticed, like I'll see them for a couple of years and then, you know, they're gone. Yeah. So.
Shit, man, I don't even give a fuck. If you're producing a badass snake and I can use it, I'll buy it. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It's all about the results for me, man. Even when I was in the Army, like when I first came in, they didn't let girls in combat jobs yet. They had
Yes.
females in combat jobs just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was and still is a very weird, strange, and awkward transition. But at the end of the day, when I saw female soldiers perform, I didn't give a fuck that they were girls. I was like,
Yeah.
Can you, if you can outperform the guy, I'll give you the job over the guy. I don't care.
Right.
Because it's going to be who's the most effective. Soldiers don't have like the gender. We always say there's like, yeah, see, Troy, you're absolutely right. If I can do it, any woman can do it. That's a fact. I'm so bitch made, it's unreal. So I'm soft as 10-ply, bud. So no.
How are you now?
Not so bad in you. No, but yeah. So I mean,
I take it you don't watch Letterkenny, Precious.
No.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on.
It's really, really funny, and you.
Yeah.
What is it?
Letterkenny. It's
Letterkenny.
Okay.
It's a Canadian show on Hulu, but it's
really funny. It's good.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
check it out.
Yeah.
They'll give your balls a tug, shirt tucker.
That's what I appreciate about you, Katie.
Oh, is that what you appreciate about me?
Anyway.
Okay, we can't because Precious doesn't know.
Precious, I know. Like we could go on all night. So
we really can, Precious. You just have to watch it. We'll have to have you back.
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
I watched some Rick. It's terrible. My son has recently discovered Rick and Morty, so
good. He needs to. It's like got all the answers to everything in that show. I'm telling you. I mean, you just gotta look hard enough.
I'm like, I kind of like compare it to like when we were kids and we watched The Simpsons. Now things are a lot more inappropriate, of course, but it's just like whatever.
Yeah, it's
out of some of the shows nowadays, like Rick and Morty's not like
I don't even think
good,
that's
right? But it's not that bad.
There's shit on TV that's like way worse.
Yeah, compared to what he could be watching. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, I was watching some show the other day, and Forest Python 4S. It is not based in Pennsylvania. It's actually up in Canada.
Yes.
Jared Kiso, the producer, he's like actually Canadian, and that show is about like how the town he grew up in and all that bullshit. And I can't remember what the fuck I was gonna say now. Thanks, 4S Pythons, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. No, man.
All right. Well, what do you think on that?
I'm lost. Yeah.
So, Precious, what is your best and worst experiences in the industry?
Best and worst. Just in general?
Just in general.
In general.
I would say best experience.
If I don't like your answers, I'm gonna make you change them. No.
Dictatorship.
Experience was absolutely God, it's hard because it would be between. Okay, so when I first had my very first girl laid, I was like over the moon. I'm talking like someone couldn't smack me to get a smile off my face. It was just like I was sitting on top of a cloud for weeks. So that felt really good. But then when the clutch actually hatched, I mean, it was just like more mania, right? So
yeah, it's one thing to get eggs, but it's another thing to like get the eggs to hatch, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole other, yeah.
So that best experience ever in the hobby was my very first hatchlings. That felt like, and I can't wait till it happens again because I have a clutch that's due to hatch tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure though that the eggs are pretty still. Like I only have like of the 6 eggs that are in the box, only like 3 are dimpling. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a late pip. So that was the best. Worst experience. It's difficult because I've not had many bad experiences. But I would say when I first got on YouTube, there was a bit of trolling, in the beginning. And you have to have some tough skin.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
To be on social media like that. And I would say that probably during the stage where I was getting trolled pretty hard, that probably was the worst experience because it almost made me stop for a while. It was just like, I don't want to like put up with this. This is ridiculous. Like people are just trying to be rude just for the fun of it. Or like,
it is fucking funny, dude. I don't troll people, but it is so funny to piss somebody off on the internet. It really is.
I mean,
Brandon says that, but we got trolled for a while when we first started doing the Instagram lives. Remember?
No, fuck those guys.
I sent Brandon a couple comments that we were getting, and he was like, "Do I need to go fuck a bitch up?" Like,
no,
I love Brandon. He's like my big brother. He is so sweet.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'll kick a little kid right in the face, and I won't feel bad at all. As a matter of fact, I'll feel pretty fucking good about it. I'll even go put on like a really cool shoe. Like, do you want a Nike?
Yeah.
Nike swoosh on your forehead, or do you want some Vans, or can I put a big old Chuck print on your fucking face? I did leave a Chuck print on the side of a dude's face once, but I told you I'm not a nice guy. Don't let the charade fool you. Yeah, but fuck those trolls, man. Fuck those little bitch ass.
Yeah.
Probably got some tiny dicks or something. Fuck those guys.
So yeah, gotta find yourself, just laugh it off, and I mean, send it to your people and have them be like, that, like that was the best thing ever. Like I was kind of feeling shitty about it, and then he's like, fuck those people, dude. I mean, that was literally all it took. I was like, yeah, fuck those people.
That's what I did too. I remember the very first few comments I had, I sent them to a few people. My friends, they're like, screw those fucking guys. Like, how they think. Like, it's just and you're right. You kind of get to a point where you're just like, so everyone's gonna have an opinion, and it's not gonna be anything that it's not gonna be anything you agree with 100% of the time. So you have to just get over it. It took maybe a month or two to kind of get used to it. But once I was used to it, it just doesn't even faze me now. It's either or ignore, or maybe a little bit of trolling back. It just depends how you're feeling that day.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's what Troy does. Troy trolls him back. He does.
I love it. I love it. I know.
Troy is funny as fuck. Yeah. After being in the Army, I don't think there's anything that anyone on the internet could do or say to me that I got hazed so fucking hard when I came in. On top of a giant truck, in my underwear with my rifle, getting sprayed with a hose while I'm singing, march along, sing our song, we're the army of the free. And I'm getting sprayed with this fucking hose, and people are pointing and laughing at me and throwing rocks at me and shit. And it was a different army back then. Here, okay, this will be the last Army story I tell, because this one's fucked up, but it's so funny when it's not you.
But
I'm gonna start off by saying this didn't happen to me. So we all know koalas, right? They can hug onto the tree branch with their legs and their arms. They can do it upside down too, right? So one of the initiation things we'll have new soldiers do is go koalify, just qualify, but koalify. So you just go make them hang upside down on a tree like a koala, right? What we don't tell them is everyone goes over there and takes a piss on that tree first. And then they go over there. So that's how fucked up it is, right? So I don't think anything that anyone says to me on the internet can ever be that bad.
Yeah.
Because I've endured some horrible fucking torture. So fuck those guys, Liz.
Oh yeah.
And Precious, fuck those guys.
Yeah. And girls. Sometimes the women are just as mean as the men.
Women are worse than men. I think.
Yes.
Men are dumb enough to go outside and punch each other in the face until they can't. Women are just cunning foxes that'll make your friends think that you had sex with their spouse. Like that's what a girl does. I wouldn't say a woman does that. A girl does that.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a girl and a woman, just like there is a boy and a man. That's some girl shit right there. Some cunning fox girl shit. Or maybe some pissed off revenge woman shit.
Right.
But yeah, that's some cunning shit right there. All right, fuck the trolls. What's next? Oh yeah, projects. Liz, I guess you can cover projects again. Precious Liz wasn't here.
I was gonna say, I think I heard it came in at the end of the conversation on what projects you're working with.
Right now, so the clutch that I have in the incubator that is due to hatch very soon was my highway female paired to the a yellow belly pastel G stripe, and
shit.
Nice.
I'm really excited for that clutch. Obviously, you know, I want to eventually hit highway G stripes. That won't happen for a few years, but you know, definitely working on that project. And I'm doing a lot with Desert Ghost right now. And when I say a lot, it's obviously like in relation to my own collection. You know, it's not like I plan on having like a bunch of clutches, but I'm hoping that, so I just had a girl ovulate that I wasn't anticipating at all. It was a complete surprise ovulation. I wasn't expecting her to even pretty much, you know, start building until like more of the fall time. But it was a leopard het pied female that I originally bought planning to make visual pies with her. But I've learned I'm not a fan of leopard pies. You know, I like pattern in my pies.
Yep.
So I kind of got away from that, and I ended up pairing her to my super etchy pastel visual desert ghost. So
nice.
She ovulated about a week ago. So hopefully, you know, I'm going to be looking for her prelay shed, and then, you know, but again, I started pairing her right around like 1700 grams. So she's not a big girl. So I was a little disappointed when she ovulated because I was hoping she was going to continue to build and like get a little thicker and give me a nice size clutch. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be a small size clutch. So, and then my Visual Desert Ghost female, I'm hoping she's showing all the right signs. She was also paired to that super etchy pastel Visual Desert Ghost, and then I paired her to a super chocolate hypo het Desert Ghost. So it's gonna be
right.
So pretty excited about that. But that I would say would be my most anticipated. But I also have a female that is kind of doing a pre-OV swell right now. She's a banana cinnamon butter, which honestly, all those genetics separated is really nothing. But she's a really beautiful girl, and I also paired her to the super chocolate hypo het desert ghost. But I think what really is gonna like be the power in that clutch is that she's a female maker banana, so it would be nice.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? So I'm really excited about that too.
I've got a banana cinnamon lesser inchy. They're nice.
Yeah,
they're nice.
They're gorgeous. Yeah, because I know I was talking to somebody and I like said her genetics, and he, you know, of course everybody wants to like shit on genetics like when it's, you know, something that they don't like, but obviously those genetics separated, sure, individually the single genes aren't like, you know, these high dollar amazing genetics, but like when you put some of these genes in with each other, like it just makes these animals so beautiful.
Yeah, we just talked about this. I just recently had that KRG Leopard Phantom Banana Yellow Belly clutch, and we were just talking about this at a previous slide. That was a pairing that I did.
We were just talking about this.
That's a pairing that I did 3 years ago. It was a banana male to a Mojave spider. Like, that was how stupid simple this was. And the whole point of that pairing really was to sell. We do a lot of local shows. We do a lot of pet market stuff. Banana Mojave, spiders, all that stuff sells really well in the pet market. So that was the whole point of that clutch. Well, she gave me 19 eggs, 12 of the eggs had banana in them. Yeah, she was big. 19 is the biggest clutch ever. 19 eggs. 12 of them were banana combos. And I hit that one out of weird odd. I got a female banana Mojave.
Wow.
And I kept her. I held on to her. And, 3 years went by. And now I had that KRG Leopard Phantom Yellow Belly Pied Boy. Threw it to her. And I made, in my opinion, this badass clutch of KRG stuff and banana combos. But sometimes those little clutches that are nothing gene animals, if you have the right stuff to put with them, like you just said, what, super chocolate hypo desert ghost,
that's crazy.
Just having chocolate and banana in there alone, and then add cinnamon. I'm so much potential in that clutch. All 100% het hypo, which banana and hypo is amazing, but you don't see a lot of it. And then 50% het DG. So, I mean, it's all about having the right animals to make the pairings. And, something as simple as a 2-gene or 3-gene female, if you got the power male to put to it, you can make some really cool stuff. And people like bananas.
Banana, and I was in love with banana for a long time. So much so that, for a very long time, my dream snake was banana killer clowns, and I told myself I could have bought the snake a few times over, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But I had in my head, I'm not going to buy what I plan or want to make, so I'm just going to wait until I make it. And even though I started getting into all these different projects, I had these pairings that I had attempted to make my first time around, my first season, that the girls didn't go. And by the time the second year came around, and I was supposed to, I guess, be upping my projects, I'm like, no, I'm going to make these, I'm going to make this snake because it's what I do first. And it's so funny because one of the girls that she's bow wrapping right now, she should be going, she's an Odie het clown, with my third or fourth snake. I paired her to my banana pastel het clown, who was my very first snake. And I could have paired her to a lot of power males in my collection, but I just did not bring myself to do it because I wanted to make this snake so bad, and I'm really gonna follow through. So I was just no, I'm gonna.
That is awesome.
A banana killer clown. So hopefully, that happens. But we'll see. I have another girl, and I actually got it to where in my first year, I wanted to hit that snake so bad that I actually paired. It wasn't even that snake that I wanted to make that combo with. I have a pastel het clown female that is actually due to lay tomorrow, and she was also paired to the pastel banana het clown. So they're head to head combos, but at the time, again, it was my first couple snakes, and I really wanted to make these animals. And I figured, even though the odds are slim, how much more gratifying will it be to actually hit that snake with the hat? So I decided to go ahead and stick with it. So 2 opportunities to make banana clowns. And again, even though I don't know, unless I hit a female, I probably won't hold anything back. You know what I'm saying? But it's I got to make it. It's just that much more satisfying.
It's the goal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%. 100%. I had a goal. As a matter of fact, when I first started, I wanted to make a banana black pastel clown because I thought banana cinnamons look cool, banana black pastels look cool.
Yeah.
Banana clowns are gorgeous. I would love to see it. And I got into a bunch of other stuff. But next year, I have a banana black pastel het male that's going to go to a visual female that I have.
Nice.
It's wow.
That's awesome. I think that's funny because that is one of my goal too. Again, guys, banana, especially banana and clown and stuff.
Yeah, I love banana and clown.
I have a banana lesser inchy spider blade clown male that I produced 2 years ago. And we call him George. It's mouthfuls. We call him George. And I was putting him to my cinnamon het clown this year. I actually don't think she's going to go, but that was my goal, was to make banana, cinnamon, inchy clowns. So, yeah, super pretty.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Cannot wait.
But all right, Precious, what's some tips you could give us for? I mean, I think we talked about this at maybe Arlington, was it? It might have been Schaumburg, but your social media presence is insane. Like
it's pretty
everyone,
good.
everyone talks about it, and it's like, you know, for the like, I remember you dropped your first clutch. Everyone was, that can't be your first clutch, right? And it's like every time we open our feed, it's Precious. Or you get on YouTube and it's Precious. You get on Facebook, like this is what Precious Pythons is doing.
You're all over the place.
Well, everywhere. Every time I open my feed, like I'm like, oh, there's Precious. You know? Every time I open my phone, it's great. So, what is your like key? What do you do? What is the process that you go through to be everywhere? I mean, really, it's just constant, like a celebrity.
No, not even slightly. But you know, I think that when I first put myself out there on social media, I was really big on because I was kind of afraid to put myself out there because of like I just didn't know what I was going to be met with. But I stay true to the fact that, you know, if I'm going to put myself out there, then I'm going to do it. And I wanted to make sure that people knew the person behind the business or the hobby, like, you know, and I wanted, you know, if I was out and about at a show, I wanted people to recognize me. So one thing I started doing pretty early was like posting my actual self on my page. And I think that when people can interact with you in that way, and where it's more personal, it's like you can build like almost like a relationship in a way, or rapport, you know, when they can make that connection. Like I said, it just makes you more personable. And I think that helped with like marketing for me, like just getting myself out there. Like people, I think, felt closer to me as like a breeder. It felt more comfortable asking me questions because I seemed like an actual person and not just, you know, you go on someone's page and it's just a bunch of snakes. But also you don't want to post yourself too much because you're still operating a snake business, you know. So it's a perfect balance of both, I think, of, you know, coming off as this personable small business owner, and then of course the passion that's behind this person as well. So definitely not a secret by any means. I think I kind of, you know, fell into it by mistake. I think that when I sent my stickers to Billy, people loved the logo, which I was also really afraid of putting out there because I didn't think people were gonna like it. But that kind of like, it took off once my logo was like out on YouTube. So a part of me thinks it's just luck, you know, honestly, like, you know, I kind of just like fell into this, and, you know, thankfully people just responded really, really well, you know. And I always say, I'm going to continue to say this, but this hobby is like the best thing, one of the best things I've ever been a part of in my like entire life. Like, and it's funny because I mean, I feel like saying that, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know what that says about my life, but it's just like literally like the best thing.
I love it.
Run upon her. Pity this woman. Fuck, man. No, it doesn't say bad things about your life. It says how much you love the industry.
Yes.
Which I feel 100%. That.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Definitely.
Sometimes, I mean, not some of the people, but, you know, the snakes.
Yeah. I remember when they canceled Tinley, right? And it was like Tinley Underground, and then March of 2020, right? I remember posting a story that was like, guys, this is bullshit. I look forward to 2 things a year: March Tinley and October Tinley. Like, those are my 2 things, you know? Those are the highlights of my whole year, you know? And even like going to, I absolutely love Arlington. I love the environment in Arlington. Like, I like the people. Yeah. Everything's better in Texas. It's so true. Like, I just love it. And Schaumburg was a really good show, but there is something about Tinley.
Tinley Park is just
Like, have you ever been to a true Tinley? Yeah, no, there is.
I am looking forward.
There is just something about that show that is so. It's like above and beyond. It's just, I don't know. It's just
like a Super Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It's another football game, but it's
but
the
it's the
football
yes,
game.
but it's the football game.
Yeah.
It really is. It's fabulous. I recommend anyone, if you guys can make it, definitely. Like, people say, like, I have to pick between Arlington and Tinley, and I'm like,
that's not even a.
Tinley, 100%. Like, I just love it. Now, going as a breeder to Arlington, I think is a little bit different because, again, I do like my like southern ball python family. Like, they're just great. But if you're going as like an attendee, like Tinley, 100% every day. Like, it's just different. It's a different environment. It's great. If you think Schaumburg and Arlington are exhausting, whew, wait till you go to Tinley.
Really?
People banging on your doors at 4 a.m., like at your hotel room. Like, it is insane. I love it. It's just the best weekend. I'm usually
like shoulder to shoulder packed.
Yes, it is. Like, you cannot walk anywhere because it is so packed. And it's just something different. It's a lot of fun. I'm not a big partier, not a big drinker. Like, no, you get to Tinley, it's like all rules are off. Like, it's like we're in our own little county, like of no laws, you know?
Yeah, the cops hand out pills like they're candy. And,
it is.
Yeah, you know, everyone from the buildings way high up there, they throw the crack and the meth down. Then they tape it to the little army parachute guy.
Right, that's what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure, but it's great. Like, it is such a big community.
It's awesome.
And I think it's so funny because I'm kind of from the area. Like, I'm from Illinois, but I go to Chicago a lot. Chicago people are not nice. Like, they are not friendly people. They are all very angry and they don't like their lives. Like, that is Chicago.
I was born and raised in Chicago. I trust me.
Yes, I know. It's just like so bad. But yeah, Tinley is just such a different atmosphere. It's so great. It's definitely my favorite show.
Hey, Levance is Levance in Chicago? Straight Fire?
I think so. I know, like, Levance's, and then Medusa's Morse, like Logan Stillwell is in Chicago. And I mean, there's several good breeders in that area, but
I just couldn't think of like.
Yeah, it's just not a nice city. Like, walking around, like, it, you know.
Well, yeah, because I talked to Levance about it. You've seen Levance; he's a big boy.
Yeah, you go to like Arlington. You're like, I went like to Arlington. I like took a hike that morning, and like everyone that passes you has like a 10-minute conversation, like as they're passing you. You know. You go to like Chicago, people are like, don't make eye contact. Like, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Or I think that's an up north.
If you smile, like someone will look, you know, you make eye contact, you're like, hi, they'll be like, you know, like, what are you so happy about? You know, it's like, sorry, Jesus.
Yeah. Someone walks past, hey, good morning. How you know what kind of goddamn day it is? The fuck? Beautiful weather out. What are you, a fucking meteorologist? Yeah, it gets a little ridiculous.
Yes.
No, October Tinley though. You guys are going to October Tinley?
I'm definitely gonna be there.
Yes.
I'll be there. Yeah.
How far are you from Tinley then, Precious? If you're in Indianapolis?
It's a 3-hour drive, 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Because I'm about 3 too. I thought Chicago was about halfway in between.
I need to see
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon's like, you'll be in North Carolina by then.
I need to see from Asheville to Tinley.
Yeah. So, all right, Precious, we're at the 2-hour mark. This is usually where we cut it off. We were able to get through most of it. I think all of our questions, actually. So we did pretty well. That. The last thing we have for you is what we do, like the Revolution round, which is like quick fire questions.
It's only 10 hours.
Yeah, only 10 hours. It'll be fine.
I drove from Oklahoma to Pittsburgh, PA in one shot.
I drove from here to Arlington
Yeah.
No.
Now, I followed Troy and JD and JSA. They were all in like a van, so I was able to like follow them down. But I was in the car by myself. It was 15 hours, and we did it in one shot.
Yeah, I did 17 in one shot.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
I think, well, it was a while ago though, but I've driven from Indy to Louisiana, and that's 12 hours. But
yeah,
I was pretty dead. Like no.
I used to. So I have a doctor up in Iowa City from here. It's about an hour and a half drive. I used to be that person that would like drive there, go to my doctor's appointment, and like have to pull over halfway on the way home and like stop and take a nap. Like that was how bad I was. I could not drive long distances at all. It's too zone out for me. Like my brain is just like, nope, we're going to bed.
Yeah, I used to be able to do it. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
like
I also am that person that can literally fall asleep anywhere, like anytime. Like if I'm like, I'm going to bed, I can just be like out in like 2 seconds. But being in this industry and traveling as much as I have, I'm good, dude. Like a solid 10 to 12 hour drive.
That's nothing. Yeah.
It's nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like we've driven, when we went to Arlington, it wasn't that bad. We drove 18 hours to Florida. I've driven 16 hours to Colorado.
See, 10 years ago, I could have made a drive. That's like 12 hours. But now, I mean, anytime where I don't have my son on I'm like, forget about it. I can just wake at work. Like
Yes. I mean, we take like day trips to Chicago now. Chicago's only like 3 hours, but it feels like nothing. Like we'll be driving, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, we're in the Quad Cities. You know, like I didn't even realize we'd driven 2 to 3 hours. It just feels like short day trips now. But anyway, we'll get to the Revolution round. Brandon, you've got the first question per normal.
Yeah. So what's your 1 rep max on bench press?
Wait, what is that question?
What is your 1 rep max for bench press?
Do you want me to guess that question? I would say.
You want me to guess?
Yeah.
Like, Queen, look at these nails. You think
I'm a weak person. Okay, maybe 30 pounds.
Right.
I love it. Mine now is like, I don't know, probably 150.
I don't even know that. Like, what? I've never bench pressed anything in my life.
I used to do 195.
Go to the gym.
No.
She doesn't need to. Look at her. She's gorgeous. She's like, I don't have to do anything for this. I'm even more jealous now. This is crap. I'm like looking through your pictures to make the story or whatever, and Kyle saw the one where you're like posing with the snake, right? Like nothing except the little thing.
Yeah.
You should take pictures like that. I'm like, I don't have that body. There's no way. I'm like, there is just no way. No.
Yeah, you are lucky. You have good genetics.
I mean, she's like this gorgeous, like all nice and full, and then it's like teeny little waist, and then I'm like, no.
I know. Whatever.
No, and now she's like, I don't go to the gym. What are you talking about? Like, I'm eating donuts right now. No.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm over here like I can't look at a fucking donut.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Yes.
Like I have to run twice a day. I have to eat healthy. I have to lift, and I still have to do body weight exercise before bed.
I hate exercise. I mean, I exercise.
I was like, screw this. I walk up the stairs. That's it.
I do no weight training. That shit hurts. It's painful. No, thank you. Like
I feel like that's when I feel the best.
Feel the burn.
No, I don't want to feel any burns. When I tell you, I actually cycle on my bike often. So like I do a lot of cycling. That's what keeps me in shape. Without that, I don't know what I would look like. But I know that I cannot exercise. No, it's just no.
I love it.
It's a no for me.
I hate it because Kyle comes in, right? I always tell people, everyone's seen Kyle. He's like 150 pounds soaking wet. Like this dude is like horrible. He comes in and like I'll go upstairs and he'll be sitting in bed with like a whole case of Oreos, like a gallon of milk, like chocolate donuts, chips, all the I mean, a whole menu spread out across the bed, right? And he'll just be sitting there like eating it. And I'm like, how? I look at that stuff. I gain like 5 pounds, and then I'm like, can you at least not eat it like in the bed? Like I would like to go to bed, you know? Yeah. Then he'll be sitting there, and I'll like lay over, and I'll be going to sleep, and he'll like put an Oreo on my face and be like, "Do you want it? You know, you want it? Do you want it?" I'm like, "You are the reason. Like, stop doing this."
That's
like, stop. But leave me be. I don't want to eat it. And I'll be like, no. And he'll be like, you know you want to eat it. I'm like, if it'll make you leave me alone, give me the damn cookie. Like, I want to go to bed.
The worst is like when I smoke pot, right? Like I'll get high, and then I'm like, I just want chocolate or a cookie or something sweet.
The munchies is real.
No, I do not get like weed munchies. I get like drunken munchies. When I drink, I'm at the ice cream.
Oh,
I cannot. When I drink and I'm drunk, I can eat anything. I have like the stomach of steel. Like it's weird. It's like that's how I get through my hangovers.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
The drunken munchies are so real for me. Whereas like I could smoke and I'll like forget to eat. Like I'll just be like, if I don't put me in a task where I'm doing something.
Yes. Yeah. I wish I was, because I know so many women that are like that. And I'm like, that is so not fair, because I'll be there and I'll just all of a sudden be like, I'm really fucking hungry. Like I'll be sitting like completely spaced out and then just be like, I want food. Like that's literally
drunk. Like it literally, and then the next morning after I drink, it's like that what do they call it? That bottomless pit. And you're just eating and eating and eating, and they're like filling that thing. That's my life.
I love it.
Oh,
all right.
Good shit.
How do you say this? Okay, we're talking about the ball python morph. All right.
Yeah, albino morph.
Yeah. Do you say caramel albino or caramel albino?
I say caramel.
Yeah! Get it and everything!
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Precious. Oh my God. If that bike ever goes out on you, I'll buy you another bike so you can stay hot forever. Why not? I'll buy you a shirt.
Damn it!
I'll buy you a shirt that says
I'm neck of the woods, Precious.
I'm only hot.
You broke the crown. Look, you made it fall. Execution. Done.
That's hilarious. I didn't know people said caramel. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Yes. Caramel albino.
Wow.
So how tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay, I thought you were taller.
Really? I'm pretty tall though.
You're pretty tall, yeah.
You sure you're only 5'7"?
That's what I'm saying. I hugged you at the show, and I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Her head's really high up.
Literally.
How tall are you, Brandon?
Huh?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10". So says the Army.
Yeah, my basketball coaches just tell me I'm 5'8" too, but I'm only 5'5".
I'm 70 inches. They measure us in inches, so I'm 70 inches. That's 5'10". Yep. I just I hunch over because I got that crushed vertebrae in my back, so I never stand up straight. I always look short. Yeah. Fucking goddamn. Your turn, Liz.
All right. I'm not asking this question.
What's your shoe size?
Yeah. I know. It's not I'm not asking another woman this question. It's not happening.
Is that what it is? Is that the question?
Yeah, what's your shoe size?
Too fucking big, actually. Like I actually.
Me too. What size are you?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Foot, you know, like those women with the tiny feet. That's not me.
No.
I wear a size 10 in women's shoes.
Me too. We could share shoes.
There you go.
What size is that in men's? Just so I can comprehend.
I think that's a 7, right?
It's one size. It's a 9. And then it's one size down. Yeah, it's one size down. So, no, I wear between a 10 and 11. 10 and 11, depending on the shoe. Because, like heels and stuff, they always make them, like, really, like, they're a lot smaller to like tennis shoes. But, no, it pisses Kyle off because he wears, like, a 10 in men's. and I wear between a 10 and 11 depending on the shoe, so I fit in all of his shoes. So it works out really well for me because I can pretty much wear any men. Like you can wear men's shoes, right? Like tennis shoes and stuff. Yeah, I'm like, you can wear my shoes too. He's like, oh yeah, let me just put on these 9-inch platform heels. I'm like, look around. I'm like, go for it. It'll be fine. You'll be good. But no, so part of mine though is I was supposed to be a lot taller. I was supposed to mature at like 5'9", 5'10". Pretty tall for a girl. But I had my knee issues, so my growth plates collapsed when I was a lot younger. So I'm way shorter than I'm supposed to be. Like I have been this height since I was like 10.
Yeah.
Like I am not growing. Yeah, it was bad. I used to be like the basketball queen in junior high because I was like this much taller than all the other kids, and then I just quit growing. Yeah, so I'm one of the shortest in my family. I have a brother that's 6'6", a sister that's 6 foot, and another sister that's
like my brother is 6'6". My sister is 5'11". Like I have a lot of tall people in my family.
Yes, same. And I have a nephew that's 7 foot.
Oh my God. Yeah,
literally, like not like almost there. Like the dude is 7 foot tall.
That's
he's my brother is his father and huge. Yeah, it's horrible. Like you want to have a conversation with the dude, you feel like a toddler. Like you're like looking like this.
My son,
no, he's great, super sweet, but yeah, I'm like, you need to start your show like the 7 foot. Like the dude has a duck to go through a door frame. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah. Ceiling fans.
Yes, my brother was in the Navy. He said it was the most uncomfortable time being.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You can't be tall and join.
There's nothing more hilarious than
you guys are making me laugh too much.
It hit his head. It's just like, are you not used to that, Mike?
That's
Aww. All right. Last question, pressers. How are you revolutionary?
How am I revolutionary? I am revolutionary because I don't even know how to answer that question. I
thought you were going to go for it. And I was like, we've never had a woman like not know, right? They're all like, I'm revolutionary because
that was like almost. I felt like she was like this. I felt like she was just gonna pull Excalibur out of her.
Yeah, I know. You were
this channel.
Oh, convinced. We're gonna. Yeah. I was so sure. I was like, holy shit, she's got this. Like, look at her. Like, I'm a badass bitch. That's why I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I'm telling you, I was gonna like over boast it, but then I was just like, ah! No. Okay, so I am revolutionary because I'm gonna do some shit in this hobby that nobody has ever done before. I don't know quite what that is just yet, but I'll let you know soon.
Oh my fucking God!
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. But you guys will find out when I do. Okay.
I'm gonna do something so fucking badass, and when I do, you'll know. And
you'll know exactly.
And so why?
I love it. I don't know if you guys, probably not. I have kids, but like Mulan 2, if anyone's seen it. At the end, at the end of the show is like, I need a bathtub full of hot wax. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do with it yet, but it's gonna be good. Right.
That's some Disney shit. That's a Disney ending.
It's like, it's Mushu, like the dragon at the end, right? Like he gets promoted or whatever. I don't know. It's a big thing, but it's just, I always thought that line was really funny. But that's what it reminded. Like, I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it's gonna be good when we figure it out.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. I love that. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yes.
That's the fuck I'm talking about. That's how I made it through fucking kindergarten to 12th grade.
Yep.
Yeah. Just kidding. I only made it to the 9th grade. That's the truth.
Yeah. Hey.
That's a sad fucking fact. Okay. We're gonna kick you off of our channel now.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on here and answering. Thanks for coming on and answering all of our questions and giving us all your time. And
yes, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I don't think I've laughed so much.
Yeah, this was a
really good one. We had a lot of fun.
Precious, I was just kidding.
She goes.
No, she fucking bounced. No. What? Precious.
She's like, you ain't real?
Oh, fuck you up,
dramatic effect. Oh man. Well, then we have. Hold on.
You can't make this up. Okay, so
you can't make this shit up. Oh my gosh.
She's like, you ain't gonna kick me. I'm out.
Like fuck. Don't
that was
hit
my dramatic exit. And
yeah, I love it. She had that plan. I mean, that shit was already pulled up on the phone and everything. She's like, at the end, I'm just gonna I'm gonna leave. Or like,
gonna fucking bounce. Yeah, fuck these fucking guys, right? Right? I bet she hit her fucking forehead on the goddamn door frame on the way out, and that's why she came back in.
Oh my god!
I'm just playing, Precious. I was
gonna die.
Okay, for real though. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, this was so much fun.
Thank you guys for having
me. I do have one piece of advice for you. For real. You can stay where you are and house more snakes if you just buy the apartments instead of the house and then kick your son out.
You know what? I might actually consider that.
Consider that shit. That's some good shit. Make him rent one of your apartments.
I will say, Precious, one thing that you're doing, if you're wanting to make this full time, and I know it comes down to a lot of different factors, but one thing that we are planning on doing is buying a plot of land and putting up our facility and then staying in the house like that we're currently in. While we do that. Or, I mean, we talked about just like dropping a freaking double wide trailer on the property and having like this badass facility. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, I spend 98.
Didn't Colby Nelson just do that?
I think so. Something similar. Like, I spend 98% of my time probably with my animals, like between my furry creatures that I have outside and down here. I'm like, the only things I do in my house are like eat, sleep, and, shower. So it's like at the end of the day, if I could have a badass facility with like a little hangout area and spend my time there and then either eventually build a house or end up moving again we kind of want to move away from the Midwest. But so again, I know there's a lot of factors that come down to that. We are very fortunate where we do own our house. So we don't pay nearly as much as we would in like rent every month, right? For that kind of stuff. But just different things that I don't think a lot of people think about. Like they think about buying this giant house that can house everything. And, I think of it more like I'd rather have a smaller house with like already an outbuilding or build an outbuilding and then have a house. And there's something said about having somewhere to go to work.
Yeah.
Like to go out to, because my biggest thing now is that everything's in the house. Stuff is so distracting. Like I go upstairs to get something and I realize my 6-year-old has made a mess, and then I realize it's lunchtime and so we make lunch, and then next thing I know it's like 2.5 hours and I'm like, yeah, I still have a snake in the holding tub in the room. Like I need to go clean and put it away, So which, guys, my holding tubs are just an empty tub in the rack. Like I'm not leaving it out. But
right.
So it just stuff very quickly. There's something to be said about having like a place to go and just focus on that whatever that task is. So but I think you're doing great. Keep building, keep going, keep up with the social media stuff. Like I said, you are everywhere, girl.
You're killing it.
Like no one doesn't know who Precious or Precious Pythons is, I know, but it's true and it's crazy. So, and I I know it's a lot of work. I started my YouTube channel, like 4 months ago. I have 2 videos up. I did really good. I did 2 videos back to back and then like it died. But it's a lot of editing, dude. It's like 3 or 4, 5 hours of video.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Edit stuff, and it's a lot. And at the end of the day, it's what do you have time for and what do you not. And
yep.
But yeah, and it's a lot, and putting yourself out there is hard.
Yeah,
I think you've done great with that, though.
Thanks.
Like, I still don't I post on my stories and stuff, but if you go to my feed, like there's hardly anything with faces,
Yeah, same.
And so it's kind of interesting that you said that, because when I started with the marketing stuff, people told me not to. Like, people don't want to see that. They want to just see snakes on your feed. They don't want to have to see pictures of you and that kind of stuff. So I cut a lot of that stuff off of there. But now I'm looking at like you and like Shane from Small Town and even Antoine, like all these people that are building so quickly.
Yeah,
it's them.
Yeah,
like it's not the animals, it's the person. Yeah. So I think we might have to reevaluate, on our side how we're doing that stuff.
That's what I'm talking about. See, we both learned something. Liz, you and I are fucked up, and Precious is like the industry standard. We are fucking garbage. Precious, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
I'm just playing. No. Yeah,
all right. Well, thank you very much, Precious. We are going to let you go. We appreciate all your time. This was a blast. We hope you
had fun. Thank you
so much fun. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
See you at Tinley.
We need to get a picture because it's been Arlington and Schaumburg now. Yeah. And she keeps ditching me, and she's like, you're not pretty enough to be in my picture, Liz.
Oh, literally, like it's just like I don't know how we keep forgetting, but literally,
I know.
Finally, I'm there. We're taking a picture.
Yes, we see each other. We keep forgetting, and then I message her. And she's like, I'm not here the second day. You need to start staying the whole weekend. Damn it! You told me you were going to be at Schaumburg the whole
weekend's where it's at.
Lied to me. Lied. I looked for you the next day. I was like
Father's Day, which I completely spazzed on, by the way, but.
Invite your father. This is work. Sorry, Dad. That's what I told my dad.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Sucks to suck, nerd.
Yeah, come see steaks with me then.
Yeah.
Period. Exactly. That's what's gonna happen next year.
Yes. None of that. No more excuses. You're staying the whole weekend. Last time it was I couldn't rebook my flight.
Just buy an airplane, man. Fuck the house.
Just buy the plane.
Buy the plane, learn to fly it. Really, a helicopter wouldn't be bad, but. Okay, awesome. We're going to let you go, Precious. Thank you for your time. You're fucking beautiful. You're fucking killing it.
Yes.
And I think you'll be full-time within the next 5 to 10 years.
I cannot wait.
Yes, we can't wait for you either. So thank you.
In October.
See you next time. Woo.
All right, there, we kicked her out.
She's gone.
Yep.
Can't come back in this time. No,
not without permission. You're gone.
All right.
So next week we have
I don't know who is it Will?
Will Moros for the
Sabbath.
And we're going to talk to Will about snakes and projects, and I think Will's going to be a very interesting candidate because he works in logistics, so he can talk shipping across country lines and borders.
Yep.
And he was somebody who bought what he liked, and then everybody thought he left the industry for like 7-8 years, and then he has this Desert Ghost puzzle. Yeah. All of a sudden, Desert Ghost is worth lots of money. So it's going to be a good one.
Will's got experience. He approached it very differently, which is not a bad thing, but he wasn't one of these breeders that came and did the social media and showed, and built a presence before the collection, right? He built the collection before the presence and and allowed the animals to speak for themselves. And to be completely honest, I think that shows more passion than anything else. The not needing.
Yeah, because he just waited.
Not needing confirmation, right? Like not posting this clutch and then having, a bunch of people be like, oh, that's so great. That's so cool. They're so beautiful. Nothing against that, obviously, right? We all like people to
Oh, yeah.
Admire what we do, and we like to give it. I feel like, I like to see other people do well too. Like, I enjoy that part of the industry, but to be able to just kind of sit quietly and do it all on your own, like that is a passion. That's something where I don't need anyone else's confirmation. I don't need anyone else to tell me that what I'm doing is good or not good. I'm doing what I want. And so pretty cool stuff, but I'm sure I have lots of knowledge to share, and it should be good. We also have an exotic reptile vet on this month as well. It's actually my local vet. She works for the local zoo here. She's got lots of experience. That's on the 21st. And then I believe at the end of the month, we actually are going to end up having our podcast on Monday instead of Wednesday, because our special guest that just works better with their schedule. So we'll announce all that later this month. But yeah, for next week, we've got Will Morose. So it should be a lot of fun. All right, guys.
Be here next week or fuck you.
Love you all. Bye.
Have a good 4th of July. Fucking
yes,
animals.
everyone. Happy 4th. We are going to be shooting off a huge firework demonstration, so I'll post videos. It'll be fun.
Not me. Me and the dogs hide in the house with headphones on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bye.
Bye.